Hello world, and welcome to another edition of Trust the Process with your host, Isaiah Trusty. Today we have Eileen Kelly, better known to you as Killer and Sweet King. So Eileen, thank you for coming by today.
Thanks for having me.
So describe your project to us.
Okay, so my project, or what we do, is we have a website, which is a online resource for anything pertaining to your sexual education and sexual health. And it's made up of different writers. So we have all these writers who are currently in university, so they're all millennials and young, like 18 to 22, sharing their personal stories, whether it's about sex, love, heartbreak, social media, anything that other young readers can kind of relate to. Okay. And we put that out there, and then we also have a forum, which is getting turned into an app currently, where you can make an account and anonymously ask questions. And we work with the Apisha Clinic, which is started out as an HIV/AIDS clinic in 1989, and they back our information, and they go on and they answer questions on the forum when the app will launch.
Oh, that's awesome. When did you know you were different?
Sorry, really.
That was unexpected. That changed it on you.
I feel like in grade school, maybe more so like middle school, high school, when I was getting older, I kind of realized, especially in my community or school, I felt really different. I grew up in like an all Catholic community, like pretty conservative, and I was like pretty truant in high school.
And where was
just
this?
like doing my own thing. I grew up in Seattle.
Okay.
So it was a funny like juxtaposition because I grew up in a very liberal city, but in a pretty conservative community within it.
Wow. And when did you notice that, you had something? Like, I don't know, basically with IG, or was it Tumblr?
It's Tumblr initially. So when I was 16, maybe 15, I started a Tumblr account, and I would share my life extremely openly.
Okay. Like talking about everything.
Yeah, like I had a boyfriend at the time. I talk about like when I lost my virginity, like everything, just put it out there.
Wow.
And then people would start asking me questions like, oh, I'm gonna have sex for the first time, like, I don't know, just any questions pertaining to their life.
And that's when you realized there's maybe a void out there for like sexual education.
Yeah, or not even sexual education. I'd say in the beginning it was like everything, like even school, just these young people didn't have a place to turn to or talk to. And you don't want to go to your parents about this stuff.
But what made you go to Tumblr? Like, how about you? When did you have help growing up, or was there a void for you in that field?
Definitely a void for me. So I grew up with a single dad. So I think that was probably the biggest shift, is not having like a motherly figure in my household.
Yeah.
How do you raise a daughter, talk about sex or any of this stuff? So it was just kind of like not spoken about. So everything I learned, I figured out on my own.
Was it a faux pas? Was it like, or you guys just basically did not talk about it at all?
Didn't really talk about it. But my dad kind of trusted my judgment. I was like super adamant about going on birth control like early, learning about this stuff. I taught all my friends about it.
Right. So using your platform now, that's basically what are you trying to get out now, and what's your goal?
Yeah, just trying to promote, safe, comprehensive sex, and having a platform on the internet already. It's like I want to use it for something positive and something good.
That's awesome. So what's the hardest thing, or maybe the hardest question you ever received?
Ooh, I don't know. So we have an online forum, and that's where like thousands of people send in kind of questions. It's kind of like a Reddit account, and they do little posts and they talk with each other, and we can read it and we can respond back to them. And seeing more serious topics get exposed or published is probably what's hard. So like anything about assault or rape, like we've had those situations on there, and that's definitely the toughest stuff to read.
Wow, yeah, that would be tough. How about like relationship-wise? Is it hard for you to have a relaissipship when you're discussing like
sex and
yes.
stuff? No, because I wouldn't say it's not so as personal. Like my website is more about putting the information out there. So it's like, what are all these sexual things? What is this terminology? And then I have different writers, so not myself, who are sharing their personal accounts.
Do you think
within.
you intimidate guys? Like, knowing a lot of what you know, do you think there's a lot of pressure on them?
I don't know about pressure, but I think they have to be ready to be with someone who knows what they want. And I mean, this is what I learn about and talk about all day long, so it definitely travels into the bedroom.
So what's the most important thing you want to achieve with this platform, or your goals?
I want to be able to reach as many people as we can. That's like my ultimate goal, and make like comprehensive, all-inclusive, queer-friendly sex education the norm, and make it cool. So that's kind of like our biggest goal, is to make kids and like youth culture care about this as much as they care about, let's say, like Supreme or V-Files or whatever else. It's like you should care about your health as much.
And is it easy to talk to you on there?
It's easy to talk to me.
And how do we contact you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, you can read the website. So it's killerinasweetthing.com, and we are publishing multiple times a week different of our writers' personal stories pertaining to sex, love, social media, and everything else growing up.
So what are some of the projects you're working on now?
So currently we are working on launching our app, which should be coming out in the next 2 months. And then we have a clothing line that's dropping next fall, which I've been working with a company that works actually closely with Nordstrom. So that's really exciting. And it all is around sex education. And then we're working on bringing our online presence to like a tangible in-person. So we're working on some workshops, specifically next fall. We're gonna do kind of like a sex ed school. So stay tuned and you'll see what we're working on.
Okay, and this is another question that I've always wanted to know. Like, do you have an alter ego?
Do I have an alter
Yes,
ego?
because like personally I know you, you know, and we hang out. You're just like this cute, sweet little girl. But if you go on Killer and Sweet Thing, there's some things that are like, whoa, is that Eileen?
I don't know if I would go so far to say it's an alter ego. I think I like to maybe mess with people's heads a little bit on the internet, because people don't realize that it's all fake, like a fake image that people put out there. You know, anyone you see online or on Instagram, and I say this on the website all the time, it is a very like contrived image. Like you are putting together like a sequence of photos that you want people to see who you are through, but none of it is real. They're edited or whatever else. So I think sometimes I take it to the next level, and I like to mess with people, or that people see what I'm doing with the sex ed and they're like, wow, that's so serious or so legitimate and clinical, and then they see my photos and they're like, this doesn't make sense, and I love that.
Now with all the information that you have and that you know, what's like the one thing that you wish you could have like told your younger self?
Ooh, I don't know if I'd change anything. I think I would just tell myself to be more confident and keep pushing, because it's all gonna work out in the end.
And there you have it. That's another edition of Trust the Process with the beautiful Eileen Kelly, also known to you guys as Killer and Sweet Thing.